Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Big Balls Fantasy Football. We are the only show by real fantasy football fans for real fantasy football fans. I am your host, 20-year fantasy veteran, Greg Reifsteck.
And I am your co-host, Jenilee Borek, a 10-year fantasy veteran and a die-hard Chicago Bears fan. And we are the beauty
and the beast of fantasy football experts. Tonight, we're going to break down our show philosophy for you since it's our first show on the Stream.tv. We're going to tell you what separates us from all of the washed-up players that you see on the other networks sitting there in their nice suits.
That's right. Our picks are not researched by any interns. We do all the research here ourselves. All of us, even the ladies, throw on our jerseys on Sundays, drink some beer, and we watch NFL.
That's right. We have over 30 years of fantasy experience combined. I've been doing this for so long, Jenilee, I used to have to fax my lineup into my commissioner and wait for him to fax it back.
Yeah, so you're ancient now, right?
Yeah. I'm ancient enough that I at least got to do the Super Bowl Shuffle in '85 on Rush Street.
Well, I shuffled in my living room to the YouTube clip.
Not quite the same. Later in the show, we're going to give you our secret ball scale that we use on our podcast. The ball scale is our patented rating system that tells you just how much balls you have to use our picks during the season.
And of course, tonight we're going to cover all the free agency frenzy that happened in the offseason. We went a little crazy on all of our social media, getting all the information out there.
Especially on our podcast at blogtalkradio.com/GRR and our official website, bigballsfantasyfootball.com.
And of course, you can tweet us right here tonight at BigBallsFBall, and we'll answer some questions for you.
That's right on the air. So, here at Big Balls Fantasy Football, we're a bunch of gentlemen, and we like to let the ladies go first. So every week, Jenilee sings this wonderful theme to her Real Men segment, and then gives us 3 big picks of the week that you definitely should put in your lineup.
Thanks, Greg, and welcome to my Real Men segment. I'm going to be giving you guys this segment every week, and this week it's the players with the greatest impacts on their new teams. So my first Real Man is running back Reggie Bush. He went from being a Miami Dolphin to a Detroit Lion. The Lions have one of the highest powered offenses in the league, so this just gives Stafford another weapon. It gives him a very reliable weapon at that. This also gives the Lions a consistent running back, which they haven't had in a while. So the defenses are not only going to have to plan for good old Megatron, but they're going to have to plan for a running game. If you're in a PPR league, I think he's going to be a great pickup because not only are you going to get him running from the backfield, but a lot of balls are going to be thrown his way, and hopefully he'll be catching most of them. Another plus to him is that he's not going to be splitting the carries 50-50 with another back because they really don't have a back with that type of talent. My second Real Man for you is Chicago's very own tight end, Martellus Bennett. Now, with new head coach Mark Trestman, this is the first time Chicago is running a high-powered offense. And not only is he a good blocking tight end, but he gives Cutler a big target in the middle of the field, which they haven't had since Greg Olsen was there. Talent-wise, he's just at his peak. He had a great season with the Lions last year, and I see his numbers just going up more this year. Chicago also doesn't have any other tight ends with this type of talent, so he will be the guy in that position. Get those points from your tight end. And my third guy is quarterback Alex Smith, who is now with the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid and him are teaming up this year, and we know that both of them are a little bit bitter about how last season ended. This gives them something to prove and bond over, which is great for a head coach and a quarterback. He has a beast in running back Jamal Charles and wide receiver Dwayne Bowe, plus Dexter McCluster is there, and they brought in Donnie Avery and Anthony Fasano. So Smith has a lot of people to spread the ball around to in Reid's high-powered offense. A great thing about Smith is that he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, so you're not going to lose points for turnovers. He's actually only had 10 interceptions in the last 2 seasons. And also, Kansas City is similar to San Fran with a dominant running back and a good D. So he was successful in that system. I see him having a little bit more success in Kansas City. Let's take it to Greg with his Beast Mode segment.
Thanks, Jenilee, and welcome to Beast Mode, where every week I give you the top 3 players that I think will accelerate their game and accelerate your lineup. This week, because of free agency, I'm going to base it on their new team schemes. The new teams that they're on that have changed the way they're going to play, and it's going to change the way you should use them in your lineup. First, we have former Ram running back Steven Jackson. This guy's going to soar for the Falcons. He was injured last season, had to always compete with Daryl Richardson. You never really knew who to play because he was injured. Daryl Richardson was putting up the stats there in St. Louis. It's not going to be a question this season. On the Falcons, Marquise Rogers, he's the young guy with the breakaway speed. Didn't have too much breakaway speed last season. This guy didn't really cut it in fantasy. Steven Jackson's going to be your guy. He's just going to be slamming it up the middle and getting a lot of points in your lineup. Another former Ram is wide receiver Danny Amendola. This guy is going to rescue the Patriots. Have you heard of any of these names? Boyce, Aiken, Dobson at wide receiver? I sure as hell haven't. And if you decide to draft them early, you're going to get burned. Hernandez isn't around anymore. He's just going to be working the ball and chain instead of the ball next season, allegedly. You have Gronk all banged up. Tebow playing tight end. I'm not buying it for a minute. I don't care that he's taking all those practice passes from the backup quarterback. Brady's targets are depleted. What you need to do is go to Amendola because he's going to go off for you in your lineup this year. Then we have former Patriot wide receiver Wes Welker. Peyton Manning is just licking his chops there in Denver. He can't wait to pass to this guy. He's a unique talent. He's not really a wide receiver per se. He's more a wide receiver tight end. This guy has the ability to get open underneath. He can run all these wicked routes that Darth Vader taught him back there in New England. And he's going to run them for you, and he's going to put points on the board for you week after week. So those are my 3 picks. We're going to go to a commercial break, and after the break, we're going to have Prost giving his one-hit blunders, basically the players you definitely do not want in your lineup. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Big Balls Fantasy Football. Now, every football season, we know there's 1 or 2 players that just don't measure up to their expectations. And ladies, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Guys don't like it either. Players just lay there like a cold fish in your lineup, and then you just have to dump them onto the waiver wire anyway. It's really pathetic.
So that this doesn't happen to you, we have our West Coast correspondent and one-hit blunder expert, 20-year fantasy veteran, Prost Goforth.
Prost, you there?
Hey, Prost.
You forgot diehard Packers fan and owner?
I could really give a rat's ass. We're going to kick your ass twice this year anyway.
Yeah, okay. You have a lot of faith in your team.
Yes.
Credit for that.
Yes, we do. About as much faith as I have in these one-hit blunders you're about to give us, so lay it on us.
All right. These are 3 guys that I pulled out from last year that took their Viagra, knocked it out of the park, and then left you feeling blue the rest of the year. The first one is well known to Big Balls fantasy football fans. He's so wonderful for his team, the Cowboys, that now he plays for Tampa Bay. That would be Kevin Ogletree. He started out with 114 yards and 2 touchdowns week 1. No one drafted this guy. Nobody knew him. He came off the waiver wire, and the rest of the season got you 2 touchdowns. Good job, Kevin. Number 2 on my list, Kevin Hartline. Tannehill's looking for that go-to guy. Who are you going to throw the ball to? Up in week 4 steps Brian Hartline. 12 catches, 253 yards, and a touchdown. This guy's a PPR wonder, a genius. He's the guy we're going to put in the lineup. Ends up gets you pedestrian, another 1,000 yards in the season, 1 more touchdown. Good job, Brian. Favorite guy, the cream of the crop for the year. Week 7, Nate Burleson goes down. Everyone's wondering who's going to go up opposite Megatron. Who's going to save the day in Detroit? Up in week 8, steps Titus Young. 9 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is the guy. Not only can he operate opposite Megatron, but he's going to be able to catch balls and do his own thing. This guy's fantastic. What do you do for the rest of the year? 7 catches, 79 yards, touchdown. But the coup de grace, he spent the last 2 weeks of the season suspended and then goes out and gets arrested twice in 1 day. That's impressive.
I think he broke a one-hit blunder record. I think that's the first time we've ever had one to get arrested in twice in one day. That's special.
That might be first for the NFL.
I think so.
I don't think very many people get arrested twice in one day.
Damn.
But anyway, these are guys you definitely do not want to have in your lineup. If you insist on taking them, even after I've given you this advice, you're going pretty high in my ball scale, our ball scale.
Speaking of the ball scale,
we have not told them about the ball scale yet. So our listeners on our podcast know all about it, but I think it's time that we clue these guys in on the Stream TV to our ball scale.
I think we definitely need to let them in on our big secret from our podcast. So let's go hit the big board and show them.
Let's do it.
Welcome back, ballers. Throughout our show, we are going to be mentioning the ball scale. This is Big Balls Fantasy Football's patented system to rate just how much balls it takes to put certain picks into your lineup every week. Let's start with the basics, the simple stuff. The one ball pick. This is an obvious no-brainer pick. Something like quarterback Aaron Rodgers versus the Jets defense. You're just playing a star quarterback versus a weak D or vice versa.
Now we're going to move on to the two balls pick. This is like a following the trends kind of pick. An example is quarterback Joe Flacco at home versus on the road. So you're playing a player's obvious strengths versus his weaknesses.
Let's amp it up a notch to the three balls pick. You're risking the backup in an injury situation. I like to call this the gut check pick because you have somebody like Dallas's running back, DeMarco Murray. He's injured all the time, so you're forced to play running back Felix Jones, who never puts up a lot of points. He might put up some decent ones, but he's far from guaranteed to get you double digits, so you have to deal with the inconsistency.
Our four balls pick is a 1 week waiver wire wonder. A good example last year would have been benching the Eagles D playing the Giants and then grabbing up any defense that was playing the Raiders or the Cardinals offense since they were horrible. So you're grabbing up a defense just for a one-shot situation start.
Let's really put it up there. The five balls pick, I like to call this the bionic man pick. See, if you drafted quarterback Peyton Manning or if you drafted running back Adrian Peterson last year off of their major injuries, you are a psychic with elephant nuts because I couldn't have predicted either of them are going to put on the performances they did last season. And if you pick players like them this season, they might not go off either. That's why you'll have a lot of balls.
Then there's the six-pack of balls pick, the one-hit blunder, like a wide receiver Brian Hartline, someone who came out of nowhere with big stats and then did nothing. This is the guy that Prost is going to be talking to you about every week. It's a huge risk because unless there's someone like Megatron, they're probably not going to repeat that performance in their career, let alone that season.
Finally, there's the infinite balls pick. Playing anyone with the last name Tebow, are you kidding me? A secret weapon isn't a secret weapon unless you actually play them. For goodness sake, if you never play them, it doesn't matter. Good luck this season, Darth Vader, on the Patriots. He's not going to do a damn thing for you. I don't care if he is taking passes in training camp.
So I hope you guys enjoyed our first show here at the Stream.tv. Hopefully we gave you some valuable free agent info so that you can go into your mock drafts and get your draft orders in line for this upcoming season.
And tune into us on the Stream.tv every week until the beginning of the season because we're going to be doing our pre-draft shows starting Wednesday, August 1st. We're going to zone in on those quarterbacks and running backs you're going to need and do positional shows every week after that.
That sounds pretty awesome, Beast.
Yeah.
Don't forget to follow us on social media, our official website, bigballsfantasyfootball.com, and our Twitter, of course, at bigballsfball. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed the show. Have a good night.
Good night.
Join us next week on Big Balls Fantasy Football. Right here, we are going to have a very special guest.
We are going to introduce you to Ashley, a.k.a. Smash, who's going to start her segment, Smash and Grab. She's going to tell you who to take in the draft at the most unexpected times. Don't miss it next week.
And be sure never to miss us on the Stream.tv by clicking subscribe.